Hey Gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey, and that is a 2023 Kia Sorento X-Line SX Prestige. And the brand has already announced updates for the 2024 model year. So in this video, I'm going to take you on a quick tour of this one, show you what's changing for 2024, and see if maybe you should buy this one or wait for that new one. Stay tuned. Okay, Gearheads, before we get too far into this one, I do want to thank Kia for delivering this one to us to test for a full week here on the channel. Huge thanks to Kia for the opportunity to put this thing through its paces for a third year in a row. That's right, we have had a 2021, 2022, and 2023 version just like this. And if you can't tell by the scenery around me, you'll definitely want to hit that subscribe button down below, because we're actually going to be testing this one off-road for the first time in all three of those models. We've done everything from road trip it to go camping with it, but we haven't really put it to the test off-road, which is a nice segue to what I've got the hood propped up for. So yes, no gas-powered struts holding the hood up on this one. We do have a prop rod, and underneath we've got Kia's turbocharged 4-cylinder Smart Stream. This is their 2.5 liter turbo 4, making 281 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to an 8-speed wet dual clutch transmission and an all-wheel drive system with torque vectoring and a quote-unquote locking center differential that really serves more as a notification to the vehicle to be quick to send power back to those back wheels and tires, because this really is a front wheel drive biased platform, but that doesn't change the fact that for the most part it's really good. Let's close the hood and talk more about styling. Now, as I record this video, we don't know a lot about the 2024 updates. The sister vehicle to the Sorento, the Hyundai Santa Fe, is getting a full refresh, whereas this Kia Sorento is getting a mid-cycle refresh, which translates to facelift, updated tech, and updated interior. But I say the design of this is perhaps one of Kia's best looking vehicles on the market. I really do like the design of the 23 versus what I have seen so far in pictures of the 24. This X-Line SX Prestige also gets a unique front end versus some of the other trims because it has an increased approach and departure angle for its off-road ability. But this being a 23 model, you can see we've got 3 beam LED lights. We've got LED running lights, LED turn signals, LED fog lights. A very nice Kia corporate look with that Kia name badge right there in the middle. This was actually designed and for the first year had the old Kia oval logo and has adapted to the new Kia logo that we see here. The 2024 versions get a cleaner, more simplified look up front with that Kia badge being moved up to the nose of the hood, and it just gives it a different look. I did mention this being the X-Line, the off-road version, getting a different front and rear fascia for approach and departure angle. The approach angle on this one is 18.4 degrees. Departure is 23.3 with 8.2 inches of ground clearance. So again, if you want to see what this thing is like, truly testing it in some off-road situations, be sure and hit that subscribe button because we will be doing that. Coming around to the side, you would see a very nice striking profile on this one. Not much to the profile is changing for the 2024 model year because again, it is a mid-cycle refresh. It is more of a facelift, nip and tuck here and there. The window lines staying the same. The overall body lines, the silhouette of this vehicle are staying the same for the 2024 model year. So if you like the silhouette of this one, absolutely look at getting a 23 before those 24s come out. This being the X-Line off-road version, Not thrilled with the fact that it's on 20-inch wheels. I know Chevy has really been leaning in heavy to 20-inch wheels on some of their off-road pickup trucks here lately. And I'm sorry, anything larger than an 18 is just too much, but they are really nice, dark finished 20-inch wheels. So you're gonna look good on the road. Not so much if you get stuck off-road. Again, be sure and subscribe for that. These are wrapped in Continental Cross LX Sport tires, or Cross Sport LX tires, and they are 255/45 R20s. So that's that for you. But as you can see, looking at the tread, they really are an on-road tire. So we'll see in that future video exactly what these are capable of off-road. This is, again, a front drive biased platform, just something you should know about the design of it. Again, very nice striking profile on this one. I really like what Kia has done to hide the fact that this is a 3-row SUV with that kind of sloping forward rear window line back there on the back. Doesn't give it a totally claustrophobic feeling if you're riding back in the back, but it does kind of cut down on visibility from the driver's seat. You can see we also get LED turn signals on the mirrors, and this, again, being the X-Line, gets that X-Line badging here on the side. Will be interesting to see. Again, we don't know many details of the 24 as of this recording, but if we get an X Pro version when they update it for 2024, much like the larger Kia Telluride has both an X-Line and now an X Pro version with a little more beefy, shall we say, tire setup on the Telluride X Pro. Coming back to the back, there will be a few nip-tuck changes back here on the 24s, but generally it's going to be very similar to this. I have always liked these Ford Mustang-like rear taillights. Gives it a much sportier presence on the road than some of their other vehicles and many of the other vehicles in this class. I would say the biggest competitor to this, both in size and capability, would be the traditional Toyota Highlander. They did just unveil the Grand Highlander. That really slates better up against the Telluride, whereas the traditional Highlander slates up better against this. This one is absolutely more powerful, a little more luxurious on the inside. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. And this one definitely looks more athletic and fun. This is probably my pick in this segment, purely on aesthetics for the 23 model year. I will reserve final judgment on the 24s after I see them in person. But we do have the new corporate badging here on the back corner, rebranding styling on the font used for the vehicle name on the bottom left. The bottom right, again, lets you know it is the X-Line all-wheel drive. And then while we're back here, before we open the hatch, we'll say we have a single exit exhaust right here on the right side. And there is a spare up underneath there that you have to access from outside the vehicle. Just something to note. But also no recovery points on this off-roader, so very interesting there. If the vehicle weren't running, I could show you the smart key access system here to the back, where basically if the vehicle is off and locked, you can stand behind the vehicle with the key in your pocket. It'll beep at you 3 times before opening the hatch. Works great if your hands are full, but you open the hatch and are greeted by a very spacious rear end if you have that 3rd row of seats down. Lots of room in here for storing cargo and things like that. I will call out, this one does have a rear cargo shade. It does have an auxiliary storage position. So if you do have those seats up, which I'll go ahead and show you exactly how easy it is to get those seats up and what the cargo space looks like while they are up. Go ahead, pull both of these into place. You can see that rear shade is nicely tucked away right here. Still allows you a decent cargo space back behind it. But when the seats are folded, there are 2 positions right up there for actually using it as intended as a cargo shade. As you see here, there is just a nice amount of space, not an overabundance, and we do have child seat top tethers on the backs of both of these seats here, but very simple to fold down one-handed. And then if I can get under this carpet right here, I can show you just a little bit all the storage. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and move this out of the way. It's not super easy to move around just because of how wide it is, but we'll get that out of the way and show you the underfloor storage back here. So there are all your tools for changing a flat tire and a little bit of additional storage back here, which is nice. It's probably big enough for a small backpack. Some goodies that you don't need to get to because it will be stuck underneath the other cargo that you bring with you. And then of course right here you can see how this cargo shade does store into this secondary location. So go ahead and pop that into place. You do have some additional power back here, 12 volt, 180 watt power outlet right here, and some buttons right here to flip and fold the second row seats flat. So if you wanted to increase your cargo capacity to its largest setting, you can absolutely do that from back here. Can't do it to both seats because Tucker's child seat is in place. I will say you've got some nice cup holders back here for third row passengers and USB-A ports on both sides, which I'll go ahead and show you right now while the lighting is good. If you aren't using the back seat, I do like how Kia gives you these places to store and hide the rear seat belts so that they aren't in the way and they don't rattle around. So overall, a very nice cargo area, and I'll go ahead and show you here at 5'10". This is how wide the hatch opens. This is where the button is. You can close it from the key fob, or you can just push it right there. All right, before we get into this one, I did want to show you the key. It is a typical detonator style Kia key, which I really like. They are updating these, the new Telluride and the Kia EV9. The electric Telluride have the new style key, but I really like it because all your buttons are really here on the side except for remote start. You've got lock in that detonator switch style, unlock, your hatch release, a panic button, and you can deploy a physical key from that spot right there. You can remote start it, which we'll do here in just a moment, but I wanted to show you some features of this proximity key as we get close to it. So it is nice, small, slim. You can keep it in your pocket. It does realize that you are close to the vehicle after being away. It does power deploy the foldable mirrors, but you can see from this button right here, this isn't a completely passive entry. You actually have to push the button once to unlock the front door and then push it a second time. So push once, twice to unlock the back doors, and that button is only on the front two doors. So that is just something to note there. I'm gonna go ahead and lock it again because I felt wrong not showing you the trick feature back here, the smart tailgate. So I've got the key in my pocket, the vehicle is locked, and of course it's not gonna do it because why would it? I want it to. So I'm gonna walk away, back away just a little bit as if I had gone into the store, make sure it is locked, and now we will walk up to it and see if that smart tailgate feature works with me back here. Yep. So we get 3 beeps to let me know that the tailgate is about to open, and then it comes open. And no pressing of any buttons on the key fob. My hands could be completely loaded with groceries or things or a kid, whatever the case may be, and can absolutely get back there. So very nice option there. No kicking underneath the vehicle needed. You can simply just walk up to the back of the vehicle and open that hatch. I'm gonna go ahead and close it from the remote, and we can go ahead and pop inside. Again, you can press it once, twice to unlock all the doors. When you do, you are greeted by this gorgeous rust color. So I really like the color combination of the wolf gray with the rust 3D embossed leather here on the inside. Very nice, very classy interior that feels very upscale. Really like the lines, the attention to detail in here. You've got the dual tone here with contrasting stitching, kind of that quilted pattern in here. This is nice and soft to the touch, so that's a nice look. This fake wood does a really good impression. I like how it's not glossy. You do get two-person memory seat here. Your window controls, your locks, and mirror controls. Sorry, got those out of order. You do have your child lockout here. That's for both windows and doors. So if you've got that lock, kids can't get out of the back. Down here, we've got four-way lumbar, multi-position seat bottom and back with an extendable thigh support. And all of that is tied into that two-person memory function on the door. So that is very nice. Coming to these seats, this vehicle has less than 3,000 miles on it. Test vehicles do live a tough life, but you can see somebody in here before me has had some dyes from their clothes kind of leak onto the rust a little bit. So this is how this one was delivered to me, but I am sure some leather cleaner would tidy that up really quickly. But that is a downside to not getting a black interior, but I do like this rust color. It is a nice change of pace from the seas of blacks and grays that many vehicles give you nowadays. Coming inside, there are some major differences coming for the 2024 model year, and a lot of it has to do with the screens that you just saw activate. I'm going to go ahead and put my foot on the brake and push the engine stop button or start button and bring this vehicle to life. So you can see we have a 12.3-inch gauge cluster here and a 10.25-inch infotainment screen here with wired Apple CarPlay, and it's all USB-A ports. So there is nary a USB-C port to be found in this vehicle. They are all USB-A, and that is a wired interface with a 10.25-inch screen. For 2023, this recessed gauge cluster is going away because lesser trims do get actual physical gauges. The update will bring that kind of continuous look dual 12.3-inch screen setup that is familiar to the updated Telluride, for instance. So Kia is really leaning in heavy to all digital gauge clusters in infotainment to simplify the build process and to simplify the amount of parts in a vehicle. So that is absolutely something coming. So no more recessed gauge cluster. It'll be kind of a continuous looking screen. Also going away are the physical controls for the climate. So if you've watched our Kia Sportage video or our Kia EV6 video, you know they have that dual function LED screen that switches between the volume and the climate controls. And yes, you can set it to stay on one versus the other. I just appreciate, I'm showing my age, I'm getting old and crotchety. I love a dedicated set of controls for each. Look how this does not look cluttered, right? I don't understand why Kia designers think that this is too cluttered, whereas you have just this nice little climate control menu and your two knobs for volume and tuning. It works, it's simple. Don't mess it up. But yes, unfortunately, with the larger screen, they are cleaning up the styling in here just a little bit. The vent designs are staying the same, but we're getting that dual purpose LED screen to control all up here. I will note with remote start, Kia does a odd thing in that if you remote start it, it defaults to 72 degrees. So you can see here, I like the vehicle to be set at 68 degrees. It's just a nice happy medium for me. Every time we remote start it, it sets it back to 72. But let's start over here, over my left knee, working my way across. We've got brightness controls for the gauge cluster right here, our lane keeping, our traction control, and our hatch button right here. We get this nice dual element vent right here that gives you just this lower section. Some people call them ball chillers. You know, I'll just leave that there. And this upper portion, which you can actually move up and down, left and right. This one just moves left and right. Again, we get that digital gauge cluster with the blind spot cameras when you put your blinkers on that are located under both of the mirrors. I really like that functionality. It is very nice and just an added touch of security, peace of mind when you're driving on the road. Pulling back from there, you can see we've got typical Kia steering wheel, all the different controls up here from your lane centering. you can actually page through a bunch of information up here and scroll through even more information on each page, including, I really like that one. I'll be showing that one off as we go off-roading because that shows exactly where the power is sent and how the wheels are turned. You can see the wheels actively turning on that little display as I turn the wheels. That is your off-road screen. And then we get Kia Infotainment here. It is typical Kia Infotainment. It looks very similar to every other Kia product that we've tested. I like this passenger talk function. It uses the microphones up here to project my voice to the back seats. Unfortunately, unlike the, say, Cadillac Escalade that we've tested just over a year ago, or right at a year ago, there are no microphones back there projecting rear passengers' voices to me. But then again, they are facing me where I'm not. This also kills any audio you have playing. So if you want to talk to those rear passengers using the passenger talk function, that's going to kill any audio that you've got going. But lots of different things in here, very snappy to respond. We've already talked climate controls. We've got a lot of gloss black in this one. You can see here, gloss black panel to hide the Qi wireless charger and your USB-A ports right here. You can see this is the only one that will interface with the 10.25-inch screen. These two are for charging. We've got a little bit of storage here for some Kleenex, whatever the case may be. We've got heated and ventilated front seats, 3-mode. They do not remember that they were turned on if you turn the vehicle off and back on. There's no automatic function of that. Really wish Kia would figure out a way to have that remember where they were set when the vehicle was powered off and back on. Small nitpicks in this vehicle, really, truly, but maybe that is something we'll see in updated versions, as well as perhaps we will get wireless Apple CarPlay in the 2024 version as well. We know the EV9 is getting wireless, and that is the first premium Kia infotainment system to do so. We've got some nice cup holders and storage here. And then we've got all of our off-road buttons, drive mode. So again, torque vectoring all-wheel drive, and you can lock it into all-wheel drive mode. They call it a center locking differential, but I think it just tells the vehicle, hey, allow less slippage up front before sending that power to the back. You can see all the drive modes here. We've got Sport, Smart, which actually learns how you drive. We don't have vehicles long enough to do that. Snow, and Eco. We've really kept it in comfort most of the time we've had it. It also defaults to comfort. Will say though, if you turn it to Sport, your gauges turn sporty red, so I like that a lot. Heated steering wheel button, auto hold, brake function when you're in traffic, hill descent control, engine start stop control, camera button, parking sensor, and electronic parking brake. And we'll go ahead and push the camera button here. Nice 360 cameras. Again, I already showed you the blind spot cameras when you put the blinker on, but you do get a few different options here of what you get to see, including those are my rear wheels, but I can change it to see my front wheels. If we'll go ahead and put it in drive, and see, there are my front wheels now looking forward from those mirror mounted cameras. So a lot of nice functionality here. And of course, when you put it in reverse, it automatically turns on those cameras and gives you trajectory, not only in the rear version, but in the bird's eye version, showing you exactly where you're going to end up. Really like that a lot, as I do the mechanical gear selector here. Nice touch. You can put it in drive and slap it over into manual mode and use the real metal paddle shifters back here on the back of the steering wheel. Again, nice fake wood up here. It's obviously fake, but does a convincing job when just looking at it. We do have a nice glove box right here that does appear to be damped just slightly. Again, these embossed seats are nice. Really nice center console with a little extra storage in here. All around, very nice. We do have a very large panoramic sunroof in this one with a roller shade that is very large and expansive for both front and middle row passengers. I just don't love this dual element switch here, that if you accidentally pull back on it too hard to open the shade, you also open the sunroof, which would not work too well on a rainy day where you just want to see the rain, which I do a lot. especially when it doesn't rain much around here, but it does give you a nice open view up above me. I've got plenty of headroom at 5'10". I've got no complaints there. I'm going to go ahead and pull that closed, and we're going to pop into the back 2 rows to see what the space is like back there. Coming up to the back doors of the vehicle, there are some very nice tricks that I like of the back seats back here. So first and foremost, we have the sunshades, the manual sunshades for the back windows, help to keep the back passengers nice and cool. We also have a cup holder right here in the door. So you've got some beverage storage and two mode heated captain's chairs in this one. Again, we get some more of that thick wood, that quilted leather here on the door. A nice touch, very much mimicking the front doors, and not leaving these backseat passengers left out. I will call out, this is a 6-passenger vehicle, so 2, 2, and 2 all the way back with these captain's chairs. You can get a bench seat in this one, but I really like the captain's chairs. You do have recline right here, a power or a manual slide function right there, and then a button here for getting in the back, but we'll show you that momentarily. Getting in and sitting behind myself at 5'10" is a very comfortable process. I don't feel like I'm sitting down in a hole or climbing up into a vehicle. It is a very comfortable sitting height. You can see I've got plenty of room behind myself. At 5'10", you've got a dual mat pocket here. So you've actually got a solid mat pocket and then a mesh net, and that is on the back of both front seats with a hard plastic seat back right here. More USB-A ports on both of the front seats up here, so rear seat passengers can have a little extra power. You get 2 air vents back here that mimic the front ones. Another USB-A port back here, a real household style plug back here, 115 volt, 150 watt, and then another 180 watt, 12 volt cigarette style, much like we saw back in the back. No center console in this one, but you do get a little net storage here if you wanted to keep some additional items back here as well. And I already showed you the cup holders in the door. No roof mounted air vents back here. They are just on the back of the center console, but here is your LED lighting with your handle. Very nice, very comfortable, and you can see we do have a nice view up in front of us. I am in the most upright seating position here in this second row seat. It's not uncomfortable, but my hair is touching the ceiling, so I'm going to go ahead and pull the lever and just show you how much this rear seat reclines. Can get very comfortable back here. So very nice second row seats. Would be a great road trip vehicle. We have road tripped this one, and oh yeah, look at that view that I have up above me and in front of me. So a very nice back seat here in this one. Very comfortable with the adjustable armrest. So if I do have it reclined all the way, I can drop that down to where it's still parallel to the ground, so it doesn't feel awkward having it tilted up in the air. I really like these door handles, just like up front. They're really easy to grab and pull open, but we're gonna pop out here. We're going to hit this button right here, which slides the seat forward. You can see this isn't a child seat friendly seat sliding function in that the seat folds forward itself to give you access to the back. Much like the third row, Kia does give you a little clip to secure the seatbelt into place so that I'm not tripping over it climbing into the 2-person rear seat. You can see they are very slender, but they are off the ground just a little bit. So I assume the knee position isn't going to be terrible in these. I do want to also call out there are lower latches for the child safety seat system in here. So not only do we have lower latches on both, but we have top tethers for both. So you truly could get 4 car seats in the back of this vehicle rather nicely. Be sure and subscribe to see our family review to see just how easy it is to install those in all 4 rows, or all of the back seats, all 4 seats, not all 4 rows. Climbing back behind myself, you can see my knees are, I'll go ahead and come out here, my knees are up. I am sitting much closer to the floor of the vehicle, and my head is now hitting the roof back here. But yeah, it's a nice seating position in a pinch. If you need it, I would call it a bonus seat more than anything. Again, I'll show you the power outlet that I showed you earlier when we were in the back, but let's pull this seat forward or backward all the way, lock it into place, and at its most upright position, most furthest back, I'm not even touching. So that is a decent a feature here in this one, that if you can negotiate with that second passenger, you're not even going to be touching. Your knees are just going to be up a little bit, possibly letting your feet fall asleep. You can see we've got Tucker's seat reclined just a little bit to match the pitch of his child seat. So we're going to see a more comfortable seating position for the second row passenger. Translates to me at 5'10", being wedged in here just a little bit. So again, conversations with that second row passenger are definitely going to ensue. We could scoot this forward and still have it reclined, but it does come into play just how tight these rear seats can be. These really are a good short seat option. If you want a better third row comfortable vehicle from Kia, look at the Telluride, but don't snooze on the Carnival MPV either. That's it for the inside-outside tour. Let's see how this thing drives. Getting in this one, putting it in drive, and setting off. There really is a lot to like about this vehicle. I may have nitpicked a little on the tour, and it will perhaps get a little bit worse for the 2024 model year, ditching your dedicated hard buttons up here. But I really do like a lot about this vehicle. There are just a few more nitpicks here on the inside, but setting off, even in comfort mode, even without that diff locked, I can see that it's sending power back to the back wheels for a good set off. Nearly 300 horsepower in this one, just over 300 pound-feet of torque. Rather quick, rather sprightly, in a vehicle that only has 4 cylinders. The V6 is essentially dying unless you're looking at big vehicles that used to have V8s. So here in this short trip 3-row SUV segment, yeah, the V6 is essentially dead. The Highlander was the most recent to say sayonara to its V6, and so we get these Turbo 4s, and this one is very peppy and ready to respond no matter the drive mode you're in. But as we get set to turn the corner here, I'm going to go ahead and turn the dial to sport, which does change my gauges. I'm also going to lock it into all-wheel drive. They call that a center locking differential. It's borderline false advertising there, but we're going to give this truck just a little room in front of us. I'm going to give it a little bit of a rolling start. Let's see. I mean, it's enough to put you in the back of your seat, which is saying quite a lot for this segment. Leaving it in sport mode, it also holds those gears for a little bit longer, but really that's all overkill, because one of my small nitpicks of this vehicle is it just seems overeager in everything it does. I mean, braking, going, everything, it's just a little overeager. And what I mean by that is, you may have seen that very low fuel economy number in the 15s since we've had this one, and that's because we've been doing a lot of city driving and a lot of school pickup lines in this vehicle. And that's where you really start to notice those little items that I'm gonna nitpick for you here, and that is, it's overeager to go. When you press the throttle, there's no like easing into it. It's like either you're stopped or you're going. It's like ready to pounce and ready to go. And then when you're coming to a slow stop, like creeping up forward in that school pickup line, when you press on the brakes, it's either slowing you down or you're stopped. Like there's no gradual ease in to the brakes if you're kind of in that stop and go transition of a school pickup line or in traffic. We also saw it when we were leaving church Sunday morning, just kind of that and it could appear to all the passengers, the 5 other people that you can bring with you in the vehicle, that perhaps you don't know what you're doing, or you're new to driving vehicles, because it is a very like lurchy experience, both stopping and going. Like nitpicks, and I'm never one to really just poo-poo a vehicle that is too eager to go. So that is something I really like about this vehicle. It does not feel anemic or underpowered. That 2.5 Turbo 4 under the hood is definitely ready to go. And this 8-speed dual clutch, it shifts rather smoothly and nicely no matter the drive mode you're in. It doesn't kick you in the pants every time you go through a gear. It just rolls through them nicely. And if you are in comfort mode, just tooling about town, you're hard pressed to even know that there's a transmission in this vehicle. It is buttery smooth, as dual clutches should be, but is also perhaps the reason of its lurchiness in slow stop and go situations. So you win some, you lose some. It really depends on what you're going to be using this vehicle for. It is a very competent highway cruiser. Last year we tested one that looked almost exactly like this on the highway, and it did great for us, returning better fuel economy numbers than we are seeing today in this one. All around, it's really good. Visibility is good, and the drivability of it is good. The steering response is not light. It feels kind of like a sporty car. I don't want to say a sports car, but gives you the impression that this thing is ready to take on curves and corners, much less than just power down a highway road. I did mention how the main competitor to this, in my eyes, is the traditional Highlander from Toyota, and this is absolutely the more athletic vehicle for the segment. With Mazda killing the CX-9 and making the CX-90, this really is the athletic choice for a short trip 3-row SUV. Let's see what acceleration does from a full stop. We'll brake torque it, and when it decides to set off, it really sets off. That initial sluggishness off the line could be due to the fact that I am still in comfort mode. But all around, this is a fun, athletic vehicle to have. And again, you can take 5 other people with you. Truly an impressive vehicle. I really like what Kia has done with this one. It's quiet, it's refined, very comfortable on the road. If you want to see what Holly thinks of it, be sure and hit that subscribe button down below, ring the bell, because we also have that off-road video where we test this thing off-road that I teased earlier. You won't want to miss that. We see just how capable this X-Line version really is when you get off the pavement. If you want to see us, more from us, find us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. Everything is at GT Garage Talk, or you can head on over to gtgaragetalk.com, where you'll find links to everything that we do. But as for me, here behind the wheel of the 2023 pre-refreshed Kia Sorento, which I think looks better, until next time, gearheads, bye.